Guy Deacon, where are you? It looks lovely.
Well, I'm currently taking a break from my main journey down the west coast of Africa, and I have flown via South Africa to Lusaka, and I'm now here in Zambia, where I'm having a holiday and a bit of a break, to be honest. And I'm with my daughter and a friend of hers who've flown out. They were going to join me for the journey bit, but I was going to drive to Zambia originally, but then when I worked out just how far it was, I thought I'd just fly across and it was easier. And so I've been here really for about 3 weeks, just relaxing and just recovering after a bout of malaria.
So you got malaria. When did that happen?
Well, I think I would have contracted somewhere along the west coast, probably Angola or Congo or somewhere along there. And but it came home to roost as I was flying in, and I was desperately ill on the airplane. And I got here and I had a temperature of 104, and I was in ribbons, to be honest. And luckily, the people I'm staying with knew what to do and knew the symptoms. And so very quickly, I was put right with the right drugs and that sort of stuff. And after about a week, I was pretty much back to normal.
Most of us have a fairly scary sort of idea of malaria, that it's something really serious and will knock you for six for quite a long time.
But there are two types. There's the type I've just had, which you can nip, and if you catch it and you take the right drugs, the right course of drugs, you recover pretty quickly. It's quite a lot of pills. It's about 12 pills a day, and it's like a very heavy dose of ordinary malaria tablets, and that lasts for about a week or so. Then there's cerebral malaria, which just gets worse and worse and worse. And the type I think I've just had could recur, I suspect, but I hope not.
How does it combine with Parkinson's?
I mean, really bad. The first thing is I wasn't sure I had it. I just thought I was having a really bad couple of days with Parkinson's, because I wasn't shivering and cold and feverish. I just was shaking and trembling a lot, and I just thought, this is not good. This is Parkinson's going a bit haywire, all of that.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if this carries on, then that's really not good news. And if it was something else, then I'd have to see a doctor. But I got here, and you have a good day and a bad day, and each bad day is a bit worse than the previous bad day. And the people here spotted that I was not myself. They didn't know me, but that I was not well. And by a process of elimination, worked out it was probably going to be malaria. And so that's what we did, and it turned out to be right, which is great.
So in a way, it was, thank goodness, it was just malaria, not Parkinson's.
Well, if it's Parkinson's, then I would have been. I'm not sure what I would have done, to be honest, because there aren't that many specialists here. I think there's 7 neurologists in Zambia, and they're busy doing their own thing, and the drugs aren't easily available. And if it had been a spiral out of control with Parkinson's, then I would have been in real trouble, because, of course, I've still got to have to do the journey yet. I've got further to go yet. But luckily it wasn't.
So tell me about your holiday. What have you been up to?
The first week, I was sort of recovering and getting myself under control. Second week, I was potting around in Lusaka and with my host doing bits and pieces. Then last week, we went down to Livingston, which some people may know it's really a touristy destination. It's right by Victoria Falls, and the river Zambezi is lined by smart lodges. We managed to find one which wasn't too expensive, and we went and saw the falls, which it's a dry season, so there wasn't water thundering over it as much as there is in the wet season, obviously, but still very impressive. And actually, you can see more in the dry season because you don't get that spray. Because when it's flowing at its fullest, it's just like a big cloud, and you end up being completely drenched. You can't really see it. You can't hear yourself think because it's so noisy. But you could see around the corner to the Western Cataract, I think it's called the side nearest Zimbabwe, and there's a lot of water going over there, but less so on the Zambian side. So you could see what was going on, and it was very spectacular. It was one of the 4 things I wanted to do while I was on the continent. So I've ticked that off and done that, because it's one of the World Heritage sites. It's fantastic.
I gather that you have been doing some Parkinson's-related activity there as well, despite the fact that you're on holiday.
Yes. Well, one of the reasons for coming to Zambia in the first place, I always wanted to come with a chap called Guy Scott, who was a senior politician and was president for a short period of time, and he's got Parkinson's. And I met him and interviewed him briefly, but his condition is not good, to be honest. And I didn't do a very good job of recording the interview, but I did my best. But at the same time, I met 3 other people with Parkinson's who were delightful and charming, all in different sort of states. One who'd been diagnosed a year ago, and was battling on as a teacher and doing her thing and could still do everything she was doing. Another one was some form of public speaker who was delightful, and she had chosen not to tell her family or anybody that she had Parkinson's. She had another condition with her neck, so she was blaming on that. She knew she had Parkinson's, but she was embarrassed to tell people. So I implored her to in my view, the more people you tell, the better. And it doesn't really help to keep it a secret, because you just end up, you don't get the help and sympathy you require. And again, in my experience, people know there's something wrong, and if they don't know it's Parkinson's, they know there's something there. And in some ways, it's a relief for them to know it's only Parkinson's, and there's certain things they can do about it. So she, on the strength of my meeting with her, has gone back and told her family that she's got Parkinson's, and I'm sure it will be a burden off her shoulders and off the shoulders of her family as well, because they will now know what's going on with her. And she was a delight to talk to. And then there was another chap called John who came with his son, and he was the worst of the three of them, and was really very sort of poorly and couldn't really move very much. And we're at worst. We stoop down, we can't move our heads, we can't look at the people we're talking to. He was like that the entire time. But his son was there, and his son is a full-time carer and had driven him there and taken him to where I met them. And again, it was just wonderful to be able to reassure these people that they're not alone, and that there are not many more people in Zambia who don't even know they've got Parkinson's. They just know there's something not quite right. And to reassure them that whilst I couldn't tell them about the cures and goodness knows what, there was an awful lot of work going on in North America, Canada, Europe, to help crack this nut, and that one day there would be a solution to it. It might be too late for all of us, of course, but there will be something. So I could reassure them that that was the case, and really by telling them that if they just look up, if they speak to their families, and their families understand what they're going through and really know what it's like, then they can help them that much better, and their lives become fuller and richer as a result.
You're on holiday. Does being more relaxed do good for your Parkinson's, do you think?
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. The hassle of going through all those different countries and fighting with border controls and visas and all that stuff, and worrying about the van and all that sort of stuff does no good at all if you've got Parkinson's, and it just makes things worse. So my vehicle is still in Angola, carefully looked after and everything. There's nothing I haven't brought much stuff with me, and I'm being looked after brilliantly, and it makes a heck of a difference. I still don't sleep very well, but I'm very relaxed and very sort of comfortable, and it's a delight, to be honest.
So when are you getting back on the road, on the mission to Cape Town?
Well, I'm going back on the 30th. There's a few things I've got to do, and then somebody's flying out to join me, a neighbour from Dorset, which is rather nice. And he will come with me from there to Windhill. And so he arrives on something like the 4th of October. And so that's when we'll do the southern part of Angola, which is meant to be really beautiful. And my experience so far in Angola has been nothing but positive. His reputation is dreadful, but the people have been so friendly. I think I've spoken to you already from Angola and described it as being a bit like South America. Not that I've been as much as South America, but it's just a completely different experience from the rest of Africa. People are delightful. Things are a bit expensive, but not as expensive as people say. And I can't wait to do the southern part of the country, which is meant to be stunning.
And then after that, a few more weeks, and you'll be in South Africa.
Pretty much. Well, Rob Hayward, the film chap, is coming out to join me when I get to northern Namibia, and he's going to stay with me for quite a long time to do the rest of the film. And he will, whether or not he comes all the way to Cape Town, or whether he flies back, we're not quite sure yet. We have to work that out. But I need to go to Rorke's Drift and go to the Drakensberg Mountains. That's what I want to do before getting to the Garden Route. And that's one of the 4 things I want to do when I'm in Africa. And so I'm planning on enjoying that, because the risk is that I just put my foot down and get on with it, get to Cape Town and come home, which is very tempting after what I've been through. But on the other hand, I'm now this is the prettiest and most interesting part in many ways of my journey, and I want to make the most of it and really enjoy it to the full. So I'm not going to rush to Cape Town, but I'm not going to idle either, if that makes sense.
Well, come back to us with another update when you've gone another, I don't know, few hundred miles, and good luck with it.